You're welcome back. We're glad to know you're still there. It's still the run-up, and we did tell you that we're going to be joined by media communication strategies, a journalist, everything you need to know about the media, everything
And a
media,
writer too.
and
He
a
has
writer
so many
of
books.
so many books, Mr. Chika Nnabuife. Good morning and welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, the area of concern this morning is really the governor of Anambra State, Professor Soludo, made a comment on Thursday. He said the investment being credited to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, were what next to nothing. We'd like to first kickstart this with how you react to that statement.
It's straight off. It's unfortunate that we are living in highly intensive political times, and politics is read into everything. That is purely a, an economic decision. That's purely a business development. And one thing with economic things is that they are verifiable. And you go and check on the investment and whatever is said, be it for or against. You should be able to get it through the numbers. Numbers don't lie. So I wouldn't want to get into the political currents, because political currents may misdirect things. But the governor has made his point. All the sides have made their point. Then when you do check, because numbers are there, you do check, you will verify that. But if you things get heady when politics is around the corner, and sometimes people lose their sense of the direction of information. So that is the much I can say there.
Let me
It
try
is
to
purely
rephrase. Let me try to rephrase the question, because this can be understood in two ways. Either
yeah.
the fact that the investment was not an important investment, so it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't amount to anything, or because of the current realities, they do not amount to anything, which would mean that when the investment was done, it was a very good economic decision, but now it doesn't make as much sense. So we need to understand it in this light. Are you saying the investment now is next to nothing because of the economic realities, or because it was not even a good economic decision at the time it was made?
You know, the issue of decision making at the time it is made is based as the exigencies of the period, the exigencies, the facts on the table. You understand? So nobody can actually begin to wagger or conclude on the veracity of that investment as at the time it was made or not. Now, as per judgment, that's why I said we go and check the figures. If you check the figures and the gel as a fantastic investment, so be it. If the gel as not it, so be it, because economic figures don't lie. So I won't go into that trying to decode the mindset as at the time. But what we can do is to look at the output as at the time we are assessing, which could we can say is as of now.
All right. Most of, Obi's supporters claim to base their support, of his antecedents as a governor. People, keep referring back to the things they claim that he had done as at the time that he is governor. You've been in Anambra for as long as I can remember. How would you, how would you describe his performance as at the time that he was governor in Anambra State?
You're now putting me on this. You are putting me in the arena. I would have wished that I join you as an adjunct appraiser, as a journalist and a communication person. However, let's not shy away from realities.
Mr. Chuka, let me rephrase. because what you just said made a lot of sense. If you were going to join us as, journalists that you just described, how would you answer this question?
No, I am. Don't you know?
Yes, we know.
Yeah, so
please just go ahead and
with your
feel
journalistic eyes,
yes.
how would you assess his administration?
Yes, please go ahead.
Really? Yes. When you talk about social developments, you are praised based on the time. Obi was appropriate for the time he was unstead. You understand? When you are praising this discussion we are having tomorrow, you are praised based on the realities of the time you will appraise it to. So it was fantastic, as at the time he was in government.
Okay.
That's much I can say.
Okay, as at the time he was governor, his achievements were fantastic.
Were peculiar for the period.
Like that.
Now, if you are praising based on the exigencies of the time, the tendencies of this time will also judge, and that is why the assessment Mr. Governor made is also peculiar for this period.
Yeah, I quite understand. It's like comparing Pele to Ronaldo in football now. The times and the laws of football and everything were different. So I understand what you're saying, that at the time they were good enough, but they may not be as good enough this time. I understand that. But
I didn't use the word, I didn't use that expression, may not be good enough. But I was saying that the exigencies of the period, in economic, in our basic economics in secondary school, they tell us all things being equal.
Mm-hmm. Ceteris paribus or something like that.
Yes, ceteris paribus, you got it.
Okay. Now, there's also another statement that the governor made, that he was certain, even though he didn't use the same words, let me not say I'm quoting him, but paraphrasing it, he was certain that Peter Obi will not win. He may be good, but he will not win in the next election. Do you also buy into what he said? And if you did, why? If you don't, why not?
You see, you have also veered off you have taken the cap of journalist out of me again. But let's go ahead. I thought a journalist
it's exactly because you're a journalist that I'm asking you this, because you are in the field. You go everywhere. I'm not asking you as a politician, just as a journalist. So from your assessment in his acceptability in Anambra State and elsewhere, from your eyes of a journalist, do you see the statement of your governor as being correct or partially correct or incorrect?
Sorry, permit me. Yeah. Do you realize that Mr. Governor Soludo is a social scientist par excellence? I hope you do. Do you also realize that he has a good knowledge of politics and economics too? Do you realize that Obi is a politician also and a social scientist? So what we are facing here are in very, very strong analysis and people who have strong opinion, and they are not shying away from putting it straight for public discourse. In the context of discourse, no idea is perfect, no idea is sacrosanct, but no idea is flawed. In the letter that the governor penned down himself, Mr. Governor penned down himself, he stated his reasons. He gave his reasons for whatever he said. And that is exactly his reasons. And please, it would be good for us not to get carried away in the political firmament, as not to read the senses as stated. Because the best thing that can happen to the world of knowledge is for somebody to record his thoughts in clear black and white, so that if you want to quote him, and if you read that presentation by Mr. Governor Soludo, he said, quote me based on what I have stated. So it's not for me to say whether it's right or not or wrong. Peter Obi's opinion is Peter Obi's opinion, and I respect it totally. Mr. Governor, Professor Soludo's opinion is Mr. Governor Soludo's opinion, and you and I should respect it. Whether it is right or wrong is left for us after, oh, well, this is just 24 hours. That presentation is 24 hours. We have to read. Those of us who don't have too much, like me, who do not have too much knowledge, we have to read and savor and appreciate before we have a clear opinion on that. But please, let's respect their opinions and let not get carried away by the political tendencies of today.
You know, when we have, conversations such as we're having this morning, that is actually when clarity comes, because then, people it wouldn't be swept under the carpet. 2023 is coming. We're rounding off now, Dr. Chuka. 2023 is on.
Doctor, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
Okay. Okay. 2023 is on our heels as it is. Barely 3 months away before the elections set in. What would be your word to people out there? There's been a lot of, I'm going to use the word chaos, but it's not so chaotic. It's just a lot of awareness that has come up. You would hear from the young people who usually would have been very, relaxed about the electioneering and voting and all of that, but they've been very, very active. How do you react to the 2023 general elections?
What we should know that it is a vital watershed in our national development. Also, we should also realize that what matters most is Nigeria, and what matters most is the people getting their. There's this word that people bandy, dividend of democracy. But if not even getting the yield of leadership, and going about them with a frank opinion. And you are wanting to appreciate something about the typical Igbo society, which Anambra is part of. There's a Republican spirit that underlines whatever an Igbo man does, particularly in political things. So the Igbo man who is truly in the spirit of that republicanism, expressing his comments, marshaled out his views, marshaled out with succinct points, must not be vilified in the context of bullish or popularist or do I say follow the vanguard of bandwagon approach. Rather, let us go and decipher the points, look at them eyeball to eyeball, clearly understand where the directions are going. I don't want to get into the politics of this issue. We want to get into the issues that's raised.
Okay.
And whether you have a point yourself, or I have a point, or she has a point.
Okay.
That is very important, and that is the real spirit of democracy.
Well, Mr. Nnabuife, we will have to let you go now, and thank you for coming. But
Thank
know that there are very hot states, I would call them. Lagos State, Anambra State, Kano State, and what other state? Adamawa State. Anything that comes from there, I don't need to say why we are calling them hot states, but anything that comes from there, we are really interested. So we might have to call you back in a few days' time to also still tell us about what is happening in Anambra. Thank you so much for appearing.
That's why I told you to know the spirit of republicanism that guards the Anambra man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming on the run-up.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll return with Mr. Ahmed Rabiu. Stay with us.